motion carries. The second item is a hearing number 2024, same property.
I will also make a motion to approve agenda item number 5, rezoning number 2024-10.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any additional discussion? Malia?
Baker,
Aye.
Rickard,
Aye.
Yaw,
Aye.
McGinnis,
Aye.
Dart,
Aye.
Malone,
All right.
Dakin.
Aye. The motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The next 4 items are also for the same property. There are a couple of hearings and some vacations on these. I'll try to get through all of the identifications as best I can. This is a hearing rezoning number 2024-11, an application to rezone from District M1, Limited Industrial District, to an R3 Urban Residential Multifamily District for property located east of 30th Avenue and north of Railroad Street. That's the rezoning. We also have a subdivision vacation number 1990-15 for the same property, and the property, as we said, located east of 30th Avenue and north of Railroad Street. Item number 8, also on the same property, is a hearing preliminary plat for the primary plat for Village Plaza Second Edition. That property is located east of 30th Avenue and north of Railroad Street. And then a final plat for that same property east of 30th Avenue and north of Railroad Street. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Craig Bennett, 1111 Central Avenue with Miller Associates, here to represent the City of Kearney on this subdivision for Village Plaza Second Edition. So I'll just go through and do an overview of all 4 items at the same time here. I know that you'll vote on them separately here. So the area that we're looking at today consists of all 4 items, 5.80 acres. It is lying north of Railroad Street and east of 30th Avenue. It's highlighted in this yellow area. It's bordered on the east by residential lots. It's bordered on the north by residential lots, developed and undeveloped. The area that we're looking at here from a zoning map, it probably really jumps off the page that it's surrounded as an M1 parcel by residential and commercial. And so we're, as a part of this process too, the City of Kearney is asking to rezone this as well to an R3 zone, which will be more compatible with what's already there, as opposed to light industrial sitting right next to those. So the City of Kearney does own this parcel, and that's the process that we're proceeding forward here. So in doing that, looking at the FLU or the future land use map, it is compatible. The MU1 is compatible with the R3 zone, so we wouldn't need to amend that future land use map. This is the existing plat as platted, Tony H. Edition, which was platted in 1999. It consists of 1 lot known as Lot 5, Block 2, and so we're asking to vacate that, replat that same lot, replat and rezone that, and that's what I'll show you before you today. So rezoning of that would happen as it's platted currently. We're asking to rezone the Lot 5 Tony H. Addition before we vacate it. So the legal description for rezoning it will be Lot 5 of Tony H. Addition for the rezoning component. Then we would go through with what I've shown here is a vacation of that, requesting that that lot be vacated, which returns it back to the rural. And then before you, the next 2 items will be the preliminary plat and infrastructure feasibility. So let me zoom in just a little bit here. So on the preliminary plat that we have here, this is an enlarged area here. One of the things that we show on this preliminary plat that I think is probably the overlying component of what we want to do and accomplish here is that on the east side of the bypass right-of-way, which would be 30th Avenue, we are maintaining what we would call a 75-foot overpass maintenance area. And so we want to be able to access those MSE walls. We want to be able to access those for future improvements, future widening, which we will have at some point in time down the road too as well. And so part of this process when the city acquired this property is to be able to secure that and be able to maintain that In doing so, we looked at what would be future circulation through here if we were to utilize the rest of this for any plating or development. And so at this particular point, West La Platte Road comes up to a cul-de-sac and terminates there. And so in this particular layout here that we have, we're extending that West La Platte Road westerly and bringing it up to that outlot A that I was talking about for the 75-foot overpass maintenance area, and then extending it, which will be known as 29th Avenue, back down to North Railroad Street. So it would provide this circulation that we would see through this area. It would provide an opportunity for what we've shown as two lots 1 and 2 there, and then on the south as well. This probably becomes a little bit more clear when we look at the infrastructure feasibility plan. So if we extend this paving, what would be known as West La Platte Road westerly, we would extend the water line along the north side and then southerly along the west side, which would give us looping to this. The sanitary sewer was already extended and stubbed to the west beyond that. So we were able to extend and continue that sanitary sewer. The reason the cul-de-sac was placed here is because it had a terminus that was required for turning around when this was platted without the extension of going into that singular lot. So this will provide that circulation straight through there. Sanitary sewer would be shown in red there. There is stormwater all the way along the east side of this lot in a 10-foot easement that's located on the east side of this. That would be utilized and maintained throughout this subdivision for on-site stormwater detention. So there'll be no regional detention cell shown in this one lot. Each lot or development would have to provide their own stormwater detention, which would then access this stormwater outfall channel. This is an aerial map of the area as well, showing what's within its 200-foot radius of that area, and again, providing that circulation back down here. If you've been in this subdivision, you're always in it, and then you have a long way to get back out to either Railroad Street or 30th, so this is going to provide some other neat circulation for both the neighborhood and then just interior circulation through that area. So it'd be a nice addition for both pedestrian, vehicular. There is a hike bike trail path that goes along the south side of these residential lots, which is the north side of North Railroad Street, so it does provide some other ancillary circulation too as well for both that and then going over the overpass as well. So then before you was the preliminary plat, the vacation, and the rezoning, and then lastly is the final plat of the same for these 3 lots known as Villa Plaza Second Edition.
Can you show me on that, please, the buildable lot, I guess?
Yeah, so the buildable lots, and maybe just let me go back to the final plat there. So this is the BSL building setback line right here. So this is the right-of-way line. So this would be buildable, all of this would be buildable, and all of this would be buildable. The city is wanting to make sure and maintain this would not be a buildable lot. So they're calling it an outlot. So that we have that 75-foot maintenance. So these 3 lots would be buildable.
So we might build a 4-plex, 6-plex on that. How much space does like a 6-plex take?
Yeah, so
Real big lots.
yeah, so this is an acre. This is a 2.13 acre. Just to kind of give you a ballpark idea here, if we're looking, and I'll start with like a duplex or something like that. A duplex I can fit on about depending on the size of it, but about 100 to 120 foot wide lot. So if I have an acre, to give you an idea there, I could put a 6-plex and maybe even another duplex or 4-plex on that with the associated parking required. So depending on how vertical you go with it, you might be able to capitalize on a little bit more higher density. But our zoning regulations of the R3 would limit what the density ratio is as well. But yeah, there would be that available there. I've looked at different layouts too for that for potential, and so we could put a few different buildings up there, residential buildings up there if we need to, 6-plexes or something like that, to answer your question.
And block 2, lot 1, that guy?
Yep. So to give you scale and perspective, these are residential lots that you have here. So, I could easily put a fourplex, or even if I needed to, a singular sixplex. I have looked at those options on there.
Thank you.
So then as each one of these lots is developed, any additional stormwater drainage would be on the responsibility of the developer?
Yeah, so if I go back to the infrastructure feasibility plan here, I stated that there's stormwater that goes from north to south along this. So, like if I was building on lot 2, I would most likely, I don't want to say how they'll develop it, but I would probably put a detention cell or some type of conveyance system on the east side of that. I would do the same thing for this lot 1. I would probably envision that. Or if this happened to be the same owner, I might look at something that's combined between that. But most likely, I would see that along the east side and maybe even more southerly. As it relates to lot 1, lot 2, I would see that same area provided along the east side of those lots for stormwater detention. So kind of depending on how they lay that out, but that's where I would envision that they'll put stormwater.
Any further questions? Melissa?
Staff's findings of fact are the proposed rezoning is compatible with development in the area and with the blue designation of purpose. The lots are compliant with the R3 zoning district site development regulations. As indicated in the infrastructure feasibility plan, the lots can be served by city water and sanitary sewer. This subdivision layout is compatible with surrounding land uses, and the development is consistent with the 2016 comprehensive plan as referenced. And staff recommends approval of the rezoning, subdivision vacation, preliminary plat, and final plat, all as presented. And then I can answer any questions.
Any questions for Melissa?
I have a question. Have any developers expressed any interest in this property?
I believe city administration is working with a group to develop some housing in this area.
And is that what has prompted the decision to do what we're doing today as opposed to 6 months ago or 6 months in the future?
Yes and no. We knew that at some point we were going to have to plat and rezone this property. We acquired it specifically to help us maintain that 30th Avenue corridor. We knew that the zoning of that property was really inappropriate for the trend of development that had occurred. And so we did have some intention to do this process. Depending on how the layout is, it provides better access for the development to the east as well. So it was on the list, and we just had some interest to potentially develop it. So
When the city decides to put on the market property that it owns, how does it advertise that so that all developers in the community have an equal opportunity to express an interest in it?
That's a great question. So there's kind of a backwards way in which municipalities sell property. We have property all throughout the city municipality and even a little in our ETJ, and we can be approached at any time for anybody to ask if we would like to sell our property, and then it goes into a public hearing process for the actual sale of that. So we don't necessarily outright advertise that we have property for sale, but through our partnerships with like Economic Development Council and the Chamber, they keep our lots listed like Patriot Industrial Park as a potential site for development. Those of course are more commercially based ventures. So our commercial properties are typically listed within those, but not all of them all the time.
And the value that the city tries to obtain when they sell parcels of property, does the city hire an appraiser to determine the value, or does it use in-house staff to do that?
Depending on the last sale of the piece of property, or if it's a property in which we haven't had like to like conditions, then we do hire an appraiser to come in and provide us an evaluation of that property.
So the estimated infrastructure cost here is $750,000 and $800,000. So, city intends to recover that money through the sale of these properties to somebody.
Potentially. There's, if we reference back to what's allowed in the R3 zoning district, we have lots of residential uses. However, there's a lot of civic uses that could also be used within this area, so churches, schools, cultural centers, government buildings, so there could be that possibility, yes.
Anything further?
So the driving force behind this was being able to make the overpass larger.
Potentially in the future should we need it, but there's also ways in which we need to maintain it, so we don't have a determinate date in which, or if 30th Avenue will be widened.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, lots of things could happen from today to tomorrow, so.
You're gonna say that the new entrance to Kearney is not yet fully fixed from, never mind.
That is a good way to put it, Stan. Yeah, we're still exploring the options for an interstate entrance on 30th Avenue.
It's called the Great 40-Year Wait.
Maybe 10, maybe 15.
Anything else? There are hearings in all of this. Is anyone here who wishes to be heard on any of these items? Hearing none, I'm going to close the hearing on item number 6, 7, 8, and 9, and we'll work through each of these. The first item is a hearing on rezoning 24-11 to rezone the district M1 Limited Industrial District to District R3 Urban Residential property as noted East 30th Avenue and north of Railroad. Is there a motion in regards to that?
Mr. Chairman, I recommend approval of item number 6, rezoning number 2024-11, based upon the city's finding the facts.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Malia?
Rickard?
Aye.
Yaw?
Aye.
McGinnis?
Aye.
Dart?
Aye.
Malone?
Aye.
Dakin?
Aye.
Baker?
Aye.
That motion carries. This item is not a hearing, but it is a subdivision vacation, 1999-15, to vacate Lot 5, Block 2, Tony H. Addition. Again, this property located east of 30th Avenue and north of Railroad Street. Is there a motion in regards to that?
Mr. Chairman, I recommend approval of item number 7, subdivision vacation number 1999-15, based on the city's finding of fact.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any additional discussion? Malia?
Yaw?
Aye.
McGinnis?
Aye.
Dart?
Aye.
Malone?
Aye.
Dakin?
Aye.
Baker?
Aye.
Rickard?
Aye.
That motion carries. The next item is also a hearing preliminary plat number 2024-06. I'm going to close the hearing for the preliminary plat of Village Plaza Second Edition. Again, that parcel of land located east is 30th Avenue and north of Railroad Street. Is there a motion there?
Mr. Chairman, I recommend approval of item number 8, preliminary plat number 2024-06, based on city's finding of fact.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Malia?
McGinnis?
Aye.
Dart?
Aye.
Malone?
Aye.
Dakin?
Aye.
Baker?
Aye.
Rickard?
Aye.
Yaw?
Aye.
That motion carries. And the final item is a hearing on final plat number 2024-06. We'll close the hearing on that item for the final plat of Village Plaza Second Edition. Is there any motion in there?
Mr. Chairman, recommend approval of item number 9, final plat number 2024-06, based on city's finding of fact.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Malia, please.
Dart?
Aye.
Malone?
Aye.
Dakin?
Aye.
Baker?
Aye.
Rickard?
Aye.
Yaw?
Aye.
McGinnis?
Aye.
That motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next items all are for the same parcels of property. And this is item number 10 subdivision vacation, number 2022-07, to vacate Lot 3, Block 3, Eunice Center, 7th edition. This parcel of property is located at 1415 Eunice Drive. Likewise, with this, on the same property, a hearing on the preliminary plat number 2024-07 for the preliminary plat for Eunice Center 11th edition. Again, the property located at 1415 Eunice Drive. And a final plat for that same property for the Eunice Center 11th edition. Again, property located at 1415 Eunice Drive. Is there anyone here to be heard for this?
All right, good morning again. My name is Craig Vinn at 1111 Central Avenue with Millen Associates, here to represent the city of Kearney as the owner of what would be known as Eunice Center 11th Edition. So, seems like each time I come up here, we just keep adding to the numeration of these editions here. So, the area that we're looking at, and just to show you, these photos are only 2 years old, but they're really dated. So I do have some drone photos here to kind of help you better visualize where this is really at. But the area that we're showing here is what was originally platted as a 29.09 acre lot, which the sports complex, the sportsplex, is sitting on. And so through that process, we have brought and provided or conveyed public utilities and a street through the middle of it, kind of separating that. And so we have the building and the parking lot on the north side and an additional parking lot on the south side, and it leaves a southeast corner, so to speak, for an area that we have reserved, and so not really for anything, but that could be separated out. And so really what we're trying to do is to do some cleanup, tying in some city streets into a right-of-way through this, because we got circulation that we really didn't know how we would get through this sportsplex when we platted this originally as Eunice Center 7th edition at that time. This is 11th. So a lot of things are happening in that area. So anyway, the area that we have is highlighted here, and just to point out here that 15th Avenue, 16th Avenue, just to be clear, that's how it is platted when we did Eunice Center 11th or 7th. 15th Avenue was this little portion here as platted at that time, and when we came back here just recently, when I had Eunice Center 10th, we had that designated as 16th Avenue for, if you remember, for all those reasons, for alignment. So the actual plat, because we're not vacating this right-of-way here, is still shown as 15th. It will be renamed as 16th through a different process, but the plat in and of itself, if you pulled it, still shows 15th on that portion. So, and we're only vacating the lot, similar to the previous one that I just did where we vacated a lot. That's really what we're doing here, is we're vacating a lot, a single lot. So the 29.09 acres is a singular lot. The current zoning of this parcel and area is C3. We're not asking to rezone this in this process at all. Even splitting the lot size still meets the minimum requirements that we have for the C3 zoning. The area that is platted currently, that is highlighted here as Lot 3, Block 3, is this area abutting the 15th Avenue right-of-way, to be known as 16th in this portion, and the south line of Talmadge Street. And also, it accepts what was platted at that time as 2nd Street, which is also renamed to Eunice Drive. And so, showing this plat here, I thought it would be helpful just to let you know, at that time when we platted Eunice Center 7th, those are the street names that were identified at that particular time, and we're doing some corrective measures here in this platting process to update those. Through the middle of that is that 115 kV line, MPPD utility easement that goes through there, and outside of that, it was pretty much a cornfield. So, taking that 2022 aerial and putting the best known information that I have, which is what was built or constructed, this is what you would see out there overlaid. Obviously the aerial photos that we have are very dated in that area. So we see the sportsplex that is listed here and shown here, and we see the parking lot. If you were to drive out there today, you would see this, and this would be the 15th Avenue south of the Talmadge roundabout that extends through here. So at the time of the platting, we weren't 100% sure where this road would align, where it would line up, and how it would best play with the design and overall site plan of the sportsplex. And so as that's evolved and as it's been constructed, the city being the owner of all this parcel, we could put our utilities in there. Now it's time to really identify that right away and solidify where those utilities are at. And in doing so, it kind of separates the two lots, or two halves, into two lots there, north and south. And on the south side, we have a parking lot that's shown here, and we have storm drainage that has been constructed, and this whole linear area along the southerly line of the lot is a detention cell, stormwater conveyance, that does project and convey stormwater easterly back to the lake that you would see, or pond that you would see out there in the Eunice area. So it's essentially, when I go through this, I'll just kind of show you some pictures here. So these were taken from our drones on June 6th, and so that same area that you would have, if you haven't had a chance to be out there, I thought maybe it might be helpful because those aerial photos in my backgrounds are pretty dated. So this is Talmadge Street here. This is the Eunice Drive that we have before us today, the parking lot and the sportsplex looking easterly, and the lake that I was sharing with you that the stormwater conveys to easterly and then ties into this lake. All that infrastructure has been constructed. So from an infrastructure feasibility plan, I really don't have one because all the infrastructure's built. And so we're kind of going through some semantics of platting. This is that same Eunice Drive that I was talking about. Kind of shows you the constructability of the sidewalks and what's already in place and happening there. You can start to see the detention cell in the background there is what would be known as 11th Avenue. That little portion that was platted as 2nd, this will all be known as Eunice Drive all the way to 11th. And that stub there is a little portion of 1st Street. This is a southerly portion of the same lot that's before you looking easterly. This is the detention cell. You can see that we're suspending solids and holding water until the vegetation gets in there. So from a stormwater standpoint, it's a great picture. Probably not very attractive to most people, but
It worked.
but anyway, this is a street where the stormwater and sanitary sewer are stubbed. So should there need to be sanitary sewer, which I'll talk a little bit about, brought into this lot, it could come from here east westerly into this lot. So it's stubbed out right now here, and it could be brought in if needed. This again would be that same area looking back forward. You can see the construction that's kind of going on there, roundabout. I just threw in some extra visuals here. So if you haven't been down there, this is the 24-plex that I brought to you in that Eunice Center 10th as well. You can see that building pad is already underway. So a lot of activity. Kind of a nice view if you haven't had a chance to drive Talmadge and to be out there on that roundabout. It's a great drive, and it's a great view of what it looks like out there. And again, that's the Talmadge and 15th, 16th Avenue area. And then the last view here kind of looking southeasterly across the site that we're platting and asking for your consideration today. And then that's the 16th Avenue at that same cul-de-sac that's already under construction, and dirt work's being done on that as well. So a lot of activity out in that area. So before you then today would be vacating that lot 3, a singular lot, similar to what we just did on the last one, vacating lot 3 of block 3 Eunice Center 7th edition. The preliminary plat, and I call this the infrastructure feasibility plan, but really I don't highlight any new water, proposed new sewer, proposed new storm. If when we look at this area here, this is one lot and this is another lot, lot 2 and lot 1 here, if we needed to serve this with any sanitary sewer, it would probably be brought through here. But we're separating a lot right on the east side of this existing stormwater pipe here. Why we're platting this Eunice Drive here, we thought it would be good just to separate the two if we needed to for any reason. This is a great time to do it. There's kind of an enlargement of the same there, which you can see the parking stalls and all the utilities that are placed in and under the ground. There's stormwater that also comes down here, water and sewer here and along the north side. And then lastly is the final plat of the same, basically 3 lots, lot 1 on the north and 2 lots on the south with the connectivity of Eunice Drive east-west there.
The south side of all of this, there's the sports center.
Graphical map shows what's already built out there already. So providing a buffer yard, I suppose, yes, of sorts, it will always be there.
I just want to know if from the sports center to the interstate, is that open space or is it will be developed otherwise?
Right now, there's nothing planned that I'm aware of, but it's just open space here. We did have this as a parking lot that we had in our future plan, and it has been expanded. So,
Is that some kind of, that horizontal, is that some kind of an easement there that?
there's a section line through there. Yeah, so unfortunately, there's a government lot line, so as you would know, government lots, 9 and 10 are here, and so this is a section line, and then accretion starts on the south side of that. Yes, there is a non-released easement that went to these two farmhouses here, but there's no utilities left in it.
Nothing that would prohibit using that.
No, not at this time. So really, essentially, this is just an open field there and kind of an open field south of this second parking lot.
And the utilities have been put in those areas in case that there is development there.
That is correct.
Stubbed out.
With the exception of sanitary sewer. So sanitary sewer exists here. It wasn't needed to serve any of these lots, but it does exist here, so it could be brought in. If something ever needed sanitary sewer, it could be brought in from here. Otherwise, all of this, I mean, obviously, this already has sanitary sewer, but it's served from townage.
For circulation from the large amount of hotels on the other side of that, is there going to be some large sidewalks put in eventually at some point to accommodate the traffic for those that don't want to?
Yeah, if you look at this plan here, I don't know if how well you can see it there. This is the sidewalk connectivity that goes along this side. We have sidewalk connectivity outside of that, and then there's sidewalk connectivity that goes to the end of this property, which will be continued to here. There's also sidewalk connectivity at these breaks here, and the Eunice Landing, which is shown on this side here. We have a widened sidewalk there, which will serve as a linear bike trail of sorts. Probably because of the amount of traffic but it'll be that width that will connect them back up to the bike trail ultimately and provide circulation.
It came
Off the street.
Yep.
Did I see that, you called it First Street down there? This
Yep.
First Street, is that planned to like wrap around the lake?
Yes, and actually when we platted Eunice Center 7th, I don't know if this actually goes back far. Yeah, it does.
Right.
So this is Eunice Center 7th. So when we platted this, we actually platted this at abuts the I-80 right-of-way, and it does connect back to 3rd Avenue. 3rd Avenue terminates right here at a parking lot that goes like to Cunninghams and all that area.
Yeah.
But so the right-of-way has been dedicated here, so it will provide that circulation. And to your point, that's what we've looked at, circulation for bike trail connectivity. We've been doing some master planning with the Eunices there, so to have a nice inter-campus loop.
Yeah, thank you.
And go out and look at it now because it may not be the same way next week.
Yeah.
I know.
Next month, we may see something else.
Yeah, we could.
So with what is going on out there right now and still the open spaces to the south with no vegetation there and all those different things like that, it seems from your pictures anyways that the drainage is working as you guys planned it to.
Yep, exactly. And actually, why you see water there is because we're restricting the water and holding it for time of concentration. But once the vegetative cover's in, there'll be a flow liner in the bottom of that as well. So a concrete flow liner, which will maintain that flow line. Some detention cells are just grass. This one will actually have a flow liner in the bottom. And so in this process, there is an easement along the south side of that we've also additionally platted because any development to the west of this will have to provide stormwater detention, which will convey through this detention cell, which then ultimately, I guess in this picture, you can see it would end up here. So yeah, if I was west of this here and I developed this, I'm gonna have to provide stormwater detention, which will then continue and tap into this detention cell, which will continue and continue and continue.
Anything else from Mr. Bennett? This is, there are Okay, focusing on items 12, 11, and 12. Subdivision vacation number 2022-07. I'm sorry.
Want to hear from Melissa?
Here, let's listen to Melissa for a while.
Thank you, Chairman.
So,
Staff's findings of facts are that the lots are compliant with the C3 zoning district site development regulation. As indicated in the infrastructure feasibility plan, the lots are served by city water and sanitary sewer. The subdivision layout is compatible with surrounding land uses, and the development is consistent with the 2016 comprehensive plan as referenced. Staff recommends approval of the subdivision vacation, preliminary plat, and final plat. All is presented, and I can answer any questions if you have them.
any questions for Melissa? This is a hearing, a variety of hearings. If there's anyone else to be heard on this matter. Okay, I'm going to close the hearings at this point. Actually, there's only, we don't have a hearing. This week.
11 and 12 are hearings.
Yeah, okay. Anyhow, just to spend a little bit more time here. Item number 10 is subdivision vacation 2022-07, and the application to vacate lot 3, block 3, Eunice Center 7th Edition. This property located at 1415 Eunice Drive. There is no hearing in this regard. Is there any other comments? Malia?
Motion.
I'd like to have a motion on item number 11.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve item number 10, subdivision vacation 2022-07, as based on city's finding of fact.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Malia?
Malone.
Aye.
Bacon.
Aye.
Baker.
Aye.
Rickard.
Aye.
Yaw.
Aye.
McGinnis.
Aye.
Dart.
Aye. Motion carries. Item number 11 is a hearing. I'm going to close the hearing on preliminary plat number 2024-07 for the preliminary plat for Eunice Center 11th Edition, property located at 1415 Eunice Drive. Motion is in order.
Mr. Chairman, based on the city's finding of fact, I move we approve item number 11, preliminary plat number 2024-07 for Eunice Center 11th Edition.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Malia?
Bacon.
Aye.
Baker.
Aye.
Rickard.
Aye.
Yaw.
Aye.
McGinnis.
Aye.
Dart.
Aye.
Malone.
Aye.
Motion carries. The final one is a hearing on the final plat for number 2024-7, the Eunice Center 11th Edition. Is there a motion in regards to that?
Mr. Chairman, based on the city's finding of fact, I move we approve item number 12, the final plat 2024-07 for Eunice Center 11th Edition.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Malia?
Baker.
Aye.
Rickard.
Aye.
Yaw.
Aye.
McGinnis.
Aye.
Dart.
Aye.
Malone.
Aye.
Bacon.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you next month. Okay, the next item on the agenda is some reports, the review of the annual planning commission. Melissa, you want to run us through this?
Alrighty. Our annual staff report was provided to you in the packet materials. So we don't have any visuals for this, so I'll just quickly run through this. We met 11 times last year with no items being submitted in January, so that was kind of a nice break for us all. Very atypical, but it does happen from time to time. Overall, we heard 76 hearings in the past year, which that year goes from May 1st, 2023 to, June 1st, 2023, ending in May 31st of 2024. So it isn't a calendar year, it's more of a operating year. That has been an overall decline in the number of hearings that we've heard. We're kind of on an overall decline trend for development. It doesn't mean that we aren't developing. We're just seeing a slowdown of that, which could be due to multiple factors, such as the increasing interest rates and risks that developers are having to take, in addition to the fact that we are reaching some of the limitations of areas that we have to develop within the city, and so we're running up to the ability for people to sell land and what they want to do with their property, and so we've just kind of maximized development over the last few years, and so we're just on that slower trend, so it may be a little more selective here in the upcoming years. Below, I've highlighted the various projects that we've done throughout the year, including Meadows First Edition, so that's the first development that'll take us north of 39 and expand that area out for residential development. Arborview has had a big year in which they've platted some areas. That's again been the first of our developments to take advantage of our new R1D residential zoning district, so that was exciting. And then we've actually had a couple of developments come through that have been for both commercial and residential developments. So there's Saudi Edition, which we included on the residential side, but Eunice Center campus has also been more of a commercial residential zone development area as well. And then we've had kind of a slowdown of some of our rural residential properties being subdivided out, which isn't good or bad, it's just the way that it is. Commercial, we've had a lot of 1 and